battle between Julia and Ostap. So, we're going to be doing the movie quiz again. Guess the film. If you don't know the movie, just guess the thing. A fun and easy quiz, 5 questions. Question number 1. A lady lost her memory, but he makes her fall in love every single day.
That's how victory smells like. 51st kisses.
Okay, that's actually not entirely correct.
What do you mean?
But it's very close. So
51st kisses.
hold on. Let me give you the multiple choice.
Oh no.
A. How to lose a guy in 10 days. B. 51st dates. And C. Confession of the Shopaholic.
B. 51st dates.
Okay. Point to you. It's actually a very, very romantic movie. One of the few good movies that you know who made.
You know who?
Yeah, I just don't want to say
Adam-
bad thing about the
Why?
guy to make him look, you know.
But I actually think the movie is fabulous because even through this metaphor, they show that it's important to sort of fall in love with the person you choose every single day.
Yeah, it is actually an amazing. Go right now and watch it.
Let's stop the podcast. We go and watch it right now.
Yeah, so let's turn. We have a TV right here. We can turn it on. So, question number 2. She was rich and spoiled, but met a guy who showed her that love has no measure, that love has no limits, and that money doesn't seem to be as important. A. Pretty Woman. B. The Whole Nine Yards. And C. Love and Pigeon. So, who actually?
I
clicked
was the
button?
first one, obviously, because my hand was already there.
Yeah, she was
Okay.
first.
Let's say C. Sorry.
Actually, that is incorrect.
B.
Nope.
A.
Of course!
Hallelujah.
Question 3. The best friends accidentally got married to each other. A. The Holiday. B. What Happens in Vegas. C. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Okay, she keeps clicking the button.
Yes.
Because that's a game, right?
Okay.
B.
B. What Happens in Vegas is actually the correct answer.
I didn't know. Damn it, I didn't know. It's pure intuition. What was your answer?
A.
You see, so
The Holiday.
2 points.
So, question 4. A man recorded his life on a video, not knowing the whole world is watching him. A. The Truman Show. B. One Day. C. Just go with it.
A.
The Truman Show.
I'm
Correct.
sorry, I'm just really fast and really good at this.
You don't really know these movies.
I know, actually, Truman's Show
Yeah,
is my
yeah.
favorite movie since I was like 10-year-old. Actually,
Really?
it is my favorite movie
Yeah, Jim Carrey is.
with Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
I think that actually what happens right now,
Well, you
right?
are being recorded
We
right
are-
now.
yeah I can
Yeah,
figure
but
it out.
with the social media presence, with the way that we use our phones, the technology enters our life, I
Yes.
think that we are living in sort of a version of the Truman's Show, right? It was obviously
Yes.
a hard metaphor, but we have it in our lives right now.
I think the little trick in the Truman Show is that the whole story is not exactly about him, but the people who are playing his relatives. For example, the lady who's playing his wife, she spends all her time just pretending to
game.
be his wife.
Yeah.
And unlike him, she knows it's fake.
Yeah.
And it's very confusing. How can she live with it? And how does she morally withstand doing this to a man?
Well, she's getting paid to do this. So how is it different from the world where we live in right now, right? There is now this movie in the cinemas. It's called Companion, I think. And actually, the movie is about how in some future they develop an AI robot that plays the role of your partner. So you
Yeah.
sleep with that AI robot that looks exactly like the person they program it, and the main purpose of the robot is to love you. So the AI fills up the main gap in the society. Their main function is to love, right? And obviously it falls apart. The AI, it doesn't matter. The idea falls apart. But I think we are not that far from that.
It's true. Have you seen the movie Her?
Yes.
It's just a small box.
Yeah.
It's like basically, it's exactly like an iPhone, only one of
Yeah.
those. No, sorry, not an iPhone, an iPod.
Yeah.
It's much smaller, and it can speak. It does
Yeah.
exactly what he wants her to do,
Yeah.
and he starts to fall in love with it. The first time it sort of malfunctions, he starts to panic.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
You
really
see,
does fall in love with it.
because right now I feel like generally people are scared of commitment. People are scared of facing the discomfort because relationship comes with a massive discomfort because you have zero clue what that other side is gonna say, is gonna do. There is no control, right? So you have to face those hard feelings because that's the cost of being a part of the community, of being in the relationship, right? And somehow maybe we are losing that skill. Maybe with social media, right? With all the factors, the world becomes much more individualistic versus being a community. So definitely with that fear of being rejected, with that fear of being in the area of discomfort, we approach AI because there is no way the code would fail. But sometimes it does, and that's what we see in all
Exactly.
those movies.
But anyway, going to the last question. He wrote her 365 letters, but never got a reply until a fate brought them back together. A, the wedding planner, B, the notebook, and C, friends with benefits.
B.
Yeah, the notebook.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's the
thought it was a
correct-
different. Okay. Aww.
I not have choice.
It's just because you
Change.
were a gentleman. I'm sure you knew all the answers much faster than me.
Okay,
You
well,
were
I'm going to
just
have to add
gentle.
more rules about this. You're going to have to click the button after I read the question.
Ron.
In this situation, I'm gonna be gentleman.
Okay, so relationship quiz. Okay, this time I'm going to add my rule. Please wait until the question is finished.
Boring. Boring. Okay, it's fine.
A gentleman is at a restaurant with a lady. The waiter makes a mistake on the order. What should the gentleman do? A, correct the mistake calmly and assertively. B, get angry and demand discount. C, ignore the issue and continue eating. So, you know what? Just because for once I'm going to give the answer to, well, let Ostap answer the question.
A?
Correct. So you have at least 1 point.
Well, I obviously agree with the answer. It's A, and I think it is actually very important to see how the person you are on a date behaves with other people, especially in the social setting. So let's say you go to the restaurant, you go to the coffee shop. It is very important to observe how that person interacts with other people, right? Because eventually the way they interact with other people, you might experience it on yourself. So that's
Yes.
why rudeness to the waiter and things like that, to me, is a massive red flag.
Yeah.
It's actually very surprising how many people would choose B, which is get angry and demand discount. A lot of people would do exactly that, especially when there's some kind of mistake made by the waiter,
Yeah.
or especially by the chef. When a chef once brought himself was the one who made the steak incorrectly, he almost panicked. He gave us, he gave me and my wife a free steak. I'm gonna have to say that was at Jack Astor's. That was a very wonderful
I mean,
service. I'm gonna handle that if you can't handle a steak.
Actually, I don't know why people started and made angry. If you can just explain.
Let's go to the next question. The lady is feeling upset after a long day at work. How should the gentleman react? A, offer and listen and support her. B, change the subject to lighten the mood. Or C, tell her, just get over it. Yeah, you managed to click first.
Well, obviously A, especially from a woman perspective. You know those funny reels on Instagram when you text him, hey, I'm so tired from work, and he sends you an emoji of a hug or an emoji of a flower or like something, oh, just get better, or like, why are you still working, right? No, it has to be, at least from my perspective, it has to be an actually actionable support. A way to a real act of how you're taking care of me. It can be ordering me dinner, picking me up, right? Things like that. So definitely not changing the subject. definitely not gaslighting how I feel, but doing assertive actions to offer me care and support.
The answer is A is correct, but I would like to explain to a lady something about, common gentlemen. That a lot of men would actually want them to change the subject to lighten the mood. Like if it was him coming grumpy from work, he would want like either solution or just to himself
Not
forget
to
about
talk
it.
about it, yeah.
Yeah, forget about it. And this is why a very few men actually know that ladies want support. They don't want the solution. They want support. They want
We want to be heard, yeah.
Huggies and
Kisses.
telling him everything's going to be fine. Not Huggies the diapers, just Huggies and warm hugs.
But I think there is a big difference of how I see men and women are functioning. And again, it might be not accurate and applicable to everyone, but I see that men, you guys usually have the capacity to, okay, there is the problem. Let me store it in the one part of my head, and I'm going to continue living my life, right? So there is this ability to split the whole thing into sections. Okay, that section on pause. Let me focus on something else. While with us, with women, and actually I'm not talking about like this out of nowhere, there is actually scientific research, we can't. If there is one thing alarming in our heads, the whole system is going to be alarmed. We need to address it, we need to focus, we need to talk it out so that we can move on and address other aspects of our life, which is completely different from men. You have this fabulous ability to compartmentalize, right? Am I saying this right? So I feel like as females, and me in my particular case, no, it has to be solved now. Otherwise, I can move on to the other segments of my life, of my thinking.
There's this wonderful example from a brilliant gentleman who is a wonderful comedian, I believe. He says that man's brain is like many different boxes together, and they never touch.
Yes, absolutely.
And the most confusing box to women is the nothing box. Men literally have nothing inside there. That's simply when men clicking the remote or sending fishing.
Yeah.
But girls' brain is like
one big box.
It's one huge wire all yarn together.
100%.
And all the wires then is like sticking out, and all of them connect.
Yes.
That's why women remember everything.
100%. And you know what? I'm always wondering, I don't want to put it on us, but very often when the phrase comes, hey, we need to talk, very often it comes from us, from women. Very rarely it's a guy who's going to come, hey, you know what? We need to talk about something. So I feel like this addresses to the same point. You guys maybe make an assessment, okay, is it worth talking about it or can I live with it? Usually, you guys can live with it. Well, what happens is the women had alarm, something is wrong. So we need to talk about it right now, otherwise it's the end of the world.
Okay.
I function like this, and
sometimes, often when a woman said, we need to talk, and men think like, oh my God, what she wants.
Yeah, what again?
Where I can go.
But only say that inside, never say that aloud.
Never say it out loud. Yeah.
Yes.
Always say,
Yes, for sure.
let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Okay, so the next question. Anyway, let's go back to the game. How often should a couple have date nights? Once a week, once a month, or C, never? Who clicked the button? I didn't actually see it.
Listen, I don't think that this question has the correct answer because every couple defines their own need to have a date. In my particular idea, it has to happen as frequent as possible. I think in your answers, the most frequent one was once per week, and I think that is, out of all the other options, the healthiest way to sustain the romance. Because, hey, listen, you put the gasoline in your car to keep it running. Same thing. You have to keep on gasoline. At this point, I'm
feeling like, did you peek at the answers?
Well, if it's right, it's right.
Okay, well, you got the 51st kisses a bit incorrectly, so no, you didn't peek at the answers. Or did you intentionally get one question incorrectly to get it right?
Oh my goodness! What, you don't want me to win this badly? What do you think? How many dates? How often?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe never.
No, I think one week.
Once a week.
But you clicked the button first, so once a week is correct.
But again, there is no right answer to this, right? Because every couple has different demands, different pace.
It's just that most couples, in this case, it doesn't really talk about every couple. It just talks about majority.
Okay.
And when majority of the couples just never have, let's say, dates again, like, or something similar to date nights, they're starting to separate from each other, and this is gets very, very difficult.
Again, like what many of us don't realize, that with the time, the hormonal splash, right, all the excitement in a long-term relationship, it naturally slows down. So that means that you have to invest more efforts in maintaining that continuous flow and spark, including date nights, open conversations, and things like that. Whatever works for you. Yeah, well, I like talking about each of them.
I really do.
I'm a woman. I remember that this is a gentleman network, but
it is. That's why I'm listening to.
That's why I'm listening.
How should you handle jealousy in a relationship?
Oh no.
A. Have an open and honest conversation about feelings. B. Keep it to yourself and avoid discussing it. Or C. Confront your partner aggressively.
No, I'm letting you do it because everybody's tired of me talking.
I think it's A.
It is A.
Second point.
What are you jealous?
I don't know.
Okay, we're kind of finished with the date, the relationship quiz. And yeah, you probably noticed that the trick was all the answers are A. And I was hoping it would confuse.
Serious?
Yeah, all the answers were A. And originally this would confuse people, but it's like either you saw right through it or you just didn't notice that.
I didn't even notice that. I think because we had conversations in between, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, all the relationship quiz has all A answers.
Good job on making the quiz, guys.
Doing amazing work.
So yeah, we saw that you won, Julia. So you won by a landslide. Ostap gets the challenge cards.
Open Instagram and then go to story mode.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So can you read that?
Start recording a short video where you share three quick tips on how to be a gentleman. 3 tips how to be a gentleman. First, every time you have to lose a game for here. Secondly, it's every time you have opened the door for here. Yes, and second you have, and the third time it's you have make support for here every day and every night.
Every night. That sounds interesting. Every day,
Yes.
every night in particular.
Because in that time she sleeps.
Subscribe so you don't miss a new episode!